think we can all agree that it was a very, very insightful and educative session, and our objective here is to do exactly the same. And we have a lovely group of ladies here with us, and I myself am very much looking forward to interacting with them and especially hearing from them the insights that they have. So I'll start off just by introducing very quickly. So you have Joanna JAMIL, who's the head of beauty and fashion at MENA, working at Meta MENA, excuse me, working with creators. So Joanna, it's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And of course, we have two extremely intelligent and effervescent businesswomen, creators and entrepreneurs. First with Karen WAZEN. Karen, welcome.
Thank you.
And of course, we have NOHA, who needs no introduction as well. So NOHA, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much and welcome to Kuwait.
Great. Now let's get into it because we have a lot of exciting questions, insights, and of course we want to learn from you as well. So the idea here today is really to look at a number of different aspects when it comes to personal identity, when it comes to building an audience, when it comes to also building a business, of course, which is powered by digital and powered by storytelling. So we're going to get right into the first question. So this is for Karen and NOHA as well, is how digital media has really helped you build and grow your personal platform and notably transform the way that you connect with your audience.
Do you want me to start?
Go ahead.
So obviously the foundation, I would say, of both my personal brand and my fashion brand is my community. And this community I was able to build through the digital platforms that have enabled this amazing communication with our audience. It's a ongoing journey. Is it cutting a little? It's an ongoing journey, I would say, and it is full of changes, so we're constantly having to adapt to those changes, to grow together with this community, to keep telling our stories, and to keep, I would say, something that's super important is to own your own narrative. And I think this is what these platforms have enabled us to do, and this voice has enabled us to eventually grow our businesses and build our businesses.
Now, Noah, tell us a little bit about owning your own narrative, because I think that this is something that you exemplify really quite well, so we'd love to hear from you on that.
Yes, first of all, excuse my voice. I'm just going out through like a major seasonal allergies. It was never on the plan. It was never planned before. And when I started this community on social media, it was just me, enjoying my time and living the experience and sharing my life and my interests with my audience. We grew together, I would say. I gained experience through the brands that I've been working with. I worked as a consultant with so many brands as well. And this experience that I gained with time started the spark, like why not starting my own business? Why not sharing this experience on a bigger scale? Now I understand the local taste and what my followers are interested in. And this is how it started. But basically it was not planned. It was not like through an agenda or a plan before.
Well, let's talk about the beginnings. I think that's a good segue. And, Joanna, with your perspective coming from Meta as well. So the connection with Joanna is she and I both worked at Meta. So I worked at Meta for about almost 20 years, starting in Silicon Valley in California. So really have seen the evolution of these platforms. So with Karen and with NOHA, you started as content creators. You started at a time where I think that the environment was different for content creators, especially on digital platforms. And you've really shifted from pure content creators, if I could say it like that, to launching your own brand or product. The first question is, how do you decide what is the right product to offer? Are you looking at your audience? Are you taking into consideration their interests? How do you make sure that also the product aligns with your perspective and aligns with what you want to represent?
I think both NOHA and I actually started before the term content creator was even a thing. So a bit like NOHA, when I started, it was almost like a hobby, just something I enjoyed doing, connecting with people through these platforms. It was initially Facebook, and then I jumped on Instagram for fun, never thinking that it would lead me to here, to where I am today. One of the things that I definitely see in this journey is, again, when I talk about the power of the community and the power of the storytelling, the community is very much part of the story. So when I started, again, it was just enjoying this part of my journey. I was actually looking for a job on the side, not ever thinking this would ever turn into a job. And I recognized an opportunity there when I was authentically showing up as my, truest self. And the they weren't consumers at the time, they were just, again, community, were interested in asking questions about particular things and the way I dressed or the way I lived. And I felt that there was an opportunity there. I wanted to create my own business. I knew that, and I knew that I was gaining experience from working with other brands, and I always wanted one day to be a voice for my own brand. And it's combining authenticity with demand, I would say, in the market. And for me, it was sunglasses. It was something that I felt very passionate about. I always loved wearing sunglasses. My husband makes fun of me because I even wear sunglasses at the mall. But it's something that felt very true to me and something that my audience connected with.
And it started actually through collaborations. When I started doing collaborations with brands that has a great history, like in the industry, like Bourjois and Yves Saint Laurent and those beauty brands. I was never into makeup. I was just exploring makeup, I was never a makeup artist. But, that actually built the connection with my audience, because you want an approachable and easy to use product that anyone can, play with and have fun with. And that's exactly the direction that I was, into. I remember the collaboration with Bourjois was supposed to be for 5 months. And then after the huge success that we made together, it was extended to 5 years. And we created together like some of lipstick shades that were the best selling, in the history of the brand that extended up to 200 years. So for me, it was amazing. And after that, I decided, like, why not? I understand the market, I understand my audience. We tailored a collection for the region. So why not creating a brand from the region, to the woman of the region? And that's when NOHA NABIL Beauty came to life. It was just an idea. Started pre-COVID, back in 2016. And I took my time to build it. It was just an idea. I took my time to tailor that idea to fit in the Middle East and the beauty standards. And I took my time building the team, studying the market. It's very important to know exactly the direction you're heading to, because there are so many beauty brands out there. But there was always this gap that I would see, like walking to beauty store or beauty or a cosmetic store. So many brands, nothing that could speak my language, nothing that looked like my region or looked like me. Nothing in Arabic calligraphy, nothing that, even the colors, they were made for, different skin types, but not for the Middle Eastern, environment or skin type. And that's the gap I was, hoping to fill through NOHA NABIL Beauty.
Well, congrats to you both on your success so far. I'm sure there's more to come. If we switch a little bit to Joanna, I would love to hear from you. Obviously, you know very well Karen and NOHA in terms of the work that you do with Meta. So it would be great if you could first share a little bit about how you accompany and work with creators to reach their maximum success. And then also share your perspective, where you see as technology and digital media playing a role in the success of content creators.
Perfect. First of all, everyone, hello. I see a lot of familiar faces. What I do at Meta is I look after content creators for the Middle East and North Africa, but same people like me exist everywhere in the world, and we're called the Global Partnerships Team. At the Global Partnerships Team, our job is the organic side of the business. So what we do is we service content creators. We work with them directly to ensure that they're utilizing the platforms, which are WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and our latest Threads, to the best of its capacity. Today, as a platform, all of you are on Instagram, I assume. Is there anyone who's not on Instagram? Good. Okay, so as a platform, After all, you can access and sign up to this platform for free, so it's not a subscription-led platform. The way we work is that we build products in the back end, our amazing engineering team, our beautiful product team. They build products based on the user behavior and based on their needs. So the user wanted to consume short videos, we have reels. The user, they wanted to interact in a different type of medium. Here you go, you have threads. Go and express and join a conversation. And based on that, the product is created. Once the product is created, we go to our content creators that we manage and we work with directly, and we ensure that they understand how to use it. They know that it exists from the first place, and to explain to them that this product is there for their own benefit. Today, if you're a content creator, if you're a designer, if you're a creative, or you're just trying to build an audience on our platforms, it's very important for you to know that the platform is ever changing. We are always innovating. And this innovation is coming from a demand from our audience, from our users. And once you understand that and you are updated and you know that these things are happening and you're reading and you're consuming and you're jumping on these opportunities first, you will get a chance to grow on the platform. May it be your presence and your followers, may it be your brand in terms of consumers and buy-in. But today, Instagram, it's on your phones. It's Threads, Facebook, everything. You take it with you everywhere. It's the most accessible platform on the planet. So it's very important for you. I know everyone here in the audience is a creative in a shape and form who's trying to grow that presence, to adapt to the strategies that we give our content creators, that we give someone like Karen, someone like NOHA. We have here a lot of my personal favorites, Abdullah, Dima, Al-Asadi. We give them these tools for them to utilize it to reach a new audience, new heights. So that would be my my transition to the second question. Innovation is happening. You're not gonna pause for a second. It's happening because if we pause for a second, others will compete with us, others will beat us at it. So with AI, with VR, with AR, with everything that's going on in that space, you as audiences and you as creators as well, you need to be on top of it. You need to be in the known, and you need to adapt as fast as you can because it's very crowded. It's extremely crowded. It's not 10 years ago. It's not when things were much easier. It's not when things were only one formatted, where you post a picture, you get engagement. Today the tools are very different. You have the short form, the long form, the live, the stories, the pictures and the stills and the carousels, and I can go on for an hour, but I'll do that on my workshop. Yeah.
Well, that's a good, I think it's a good point to call out, because on the one hand, it's great because there's innovation and you have this opportunity to grow your business in new ways where you didn't maybe have 5-10 years ago. But on the other hand, they're also long-term business owners. You have long-term products. So how do you adapt? Because we're speaking about positive things, but it's also challenging for you as brand owners when the environment, and even though digital and platforms like Instagram have played a big role, they're also consistently changing. So you're trying to build a 3-5 year business plan and the platforms are evolving. So how do you adapt your business models? And maybe Noha, you can take this first. How do you adapt your business models or your approach to product development in a consistently shifting and evolving environment?
I think we are lucky these days because we have this access to those insights and the instant customers and consumers feedback, and that was not available or accessible like 10 years ago. When I want to launch a product, it's so easy for me now, like to create a survey or like to ask my audience or followers through any social media platforms, what do you prefer to start with, a foundation, a concealer, what do you want next? What do you like and you don't like in the product? And this access helps me improve and develop. And believe it or not, I killed so many ideas just because, in one survey, people didn't like the idea. And I adopted and considered new ideas that I've never thought of before. So I think it's very important to listen to that consumer. It's very important. They are the driven force, behind everything we create. And by saying like consumers, I'm talking about like Gen Z consumers who are my daughter's age, 11, 12, 13, up to 90 years old. Like I listen to Gen Z. I listen to them because like sometimes I apply my makeup in a way that my daughter thinks like it's too matte. Or it's like, mommy, this is like so millennial of you, you know? Like just you need to apply some shine or apply some lip gloss. And these things are so eye-opening. I mean, sometimes I've seen some influencers or content creators or even like business owners, they just follow the strategy they have in mind. Always, you know, keep a space to evolve. Always listen. Always open your heart to new ideas, newcomers. I would listen to advice from a 10 years old, and it helps. It helps a lot. It opens your eyes to new things and new ideas, and it always works. So it's very important. And once again, we're lucky, because like before, we didn't get the access to do that, or you would have to hire a third party to get, you know, an access to that inside. Now it's all natural, organic, and instant.
Instant and direct feedback
Exactly.
is what helps you drive product development.
Exactly.
Perfect. And Karen, do you have any thoughts to add?
Yeah, I just want to say like a short story. When I was looking for a school for my children, I sat through different orientations of different schools, and the one that I ended up picking, I ended up choosing because of this particular conversation that I had with the dean. He basically said that in the past, people used to measure intelligence by the IQ, and then it shifted to the EQ. And what this school provides is a new form of intelligence, which is the adaptation intelligence. And to me, this is what sold me, and I'm like, my kids are going to this school because I think today what truly makes business successful is the ease in which they're able to adapt to the fast-changing world we're living in today. Whether you're talking about Instagram or even just trends in general that are constantly evolving, and it's very easy to sit in your, you know, comfort zone, or to sit with what used to work for you and think, why isn't this working today, and keep at it because it's uncomfortable to change. Whereas it doesn't usually, it never really works that way. So I think what's super important, whether it's from a small business perspective or even for us as creators, it's to constantly be comfortable with change and with adapting to those changes. And again, you were saying, you know, it was easier then than it is easier today. I don't necessarily think this is 100% accurate, because I remember when we first started, it was so new that we had so much judgment from people as well, of like what, I remember me personally having people saying like, who does she think she is and what is she doing? They would not understand the nature of the business or of the work. Today, it's extremely acceptable and encouraged, and it wasn't the case at the time. So we also had to fight for respect, fight for our, you know, for people to accept us within the industry. And again, this is what maybe today we're trying to fight for others things, you know, that it just keeps moving that way, so.
If I may add one thing, in general, content creators and the creators economy is still a very new industry. Yeah. It's a 10-year-old industry. I believe Kuwait was one of the first markets, the OG market for content creators, specifically on Instagram. It is still a very new industry. However, the way it's shaped now, as you said, it was easier to grow on Instagram back then, but it was very hard for you on a personal level because you couldn't label yourself, and they couldn't understand what you guys were doing. But then that's done. We checked it, and now the new thing that's happening, and I know you're gonna dive into it, what's next? We have Karen and Noha who are navigating and working on what's next for them, because you can't just stay a content creator forever. You can, unless like with different ways, maybe by diverting your formats into different directions. But what's next is the biggest question for content creators today.
Well, I'm going to then throw the question back to you in terms of what's next, especially if you're starting as a content creator, you've built an audience, you know, pretty successfully, and I think that represents a lot of people in this room, and you want to be a brand leader. You want to build your own perspective. You want to build a product, a tangible product and a point of view. Without giving away the master class, because I know that people are looking forward to that, but what would you recommend? What do you think are the top three actions or perspectives to keep in mind, especially for content creators that are looking to make this transition to a brand developer?
the learnings that we have are the learnings that we've obtained from the creators that we work with who have managed to build successful brands. So if I may, I'm not going to speak on their behalf, but what we've observed. First of all, each one of them, the successful ones who have managed to really dive in and distribute their business and have that authority, they knew their numbers, they knew the industry. And that's very important. We sometimes think, oh, like, you know, I'm passionate about makeup, so let me just go and do makeup. You can find the manufacturer, you can create makeup, it's easy. But how can you cater your makeup? Same what you were saying, Noha, you were talking about, I knew who my audience was, I knew their skin tone, I knew what I wanted to deliver for them. Know your numbers and know the industry. Study it inside out. This is all available, this is all stuff that you can obtain because people before you and brands before you have managed to dive into it. So it's not only, oh, I like it, so I'm gonna do it. It's a business. And starting a business, like most entrepreneurs here, they know how hard it is. And secondly, be true to your community. You are a creator, you started in a different way. So brands, usually they start the brand and then they grow the community. Content creators, they have the community and then they grow the brand. So when you have that approach, that community is expecting a lot from you. They're expecting consistency. They're expecting that you're true to them and you're not just trying to sell them stuff. And the second, and they're very smart now, the audience, how smart is the audience now? Very savvy. And the second they feel like—
You can tell from our kids as well, like they will not take any— They want the truth.
You're out. They'll unfollow and you lost an audience. And you may think it's one follower, but one follower drags another. And you lose them. So stay true to your community that you've built because you have it. And it's a blessing. Brands, they would do anything to have that community, but you already have that community.
This is something very inspiring because one of the common things that I always see, you know, from creators who want to turn their influence to a business, the first thing they think of, like, you take like a successful story, international successful or global successful story, and try to look like it or copy it. It doesn't work in our region. I mean, starting a business in the Middle East, in this region, and I'm talking about, you know, a Kuwaiti girl started from Kuwait, and have a look at the Kuwaiti ladies. So elegant, saturated. They know exactly what they want. They've been dealing with, you know, the elite brands since their early age, and so hard, you know, to keep up with that. But believing in yourself and creating something not less than that, tailored for them, tailored for the region. And I think last year, after the situation, you know, in Gaza and what happened in October 2023, everything has shifted. The way we look at ourselves, the way we look at our talents, the region, the taste, everything has changed. I think we now believe stronger in ourselves and our talent, and we want to support each other. And I had the side talk with Mr. Khalid Al-Tayr from UNAS, because now there are those platforms that actually adopt you as, you know, a young talent from the region. Now people will believe in you more. Now it's your time. Now it's your time to shine. Because, you know, if we lost hope, you know, in our brands or our talents for a certain period of time, the future is ours, and it's our time to shine. Just deliver a good product, create your own narrative, create your own successful story, and people will believe in it as well. And you will get the opportunity to shine. So I think last year was a great shift, but in a very good direction for us as, you know, regional talents.
Thank you. Is there anyone?
I second what you're saying. I think especially over the past year, we recognize the importance of supporting local brands, supporting each other, and I think we were quite also maybe a bit disappointed by, you know, the regard from the West, and we have it within us to be those brands that we look up to be the creators that we look up to. And it takes, you know, all of us, I think, coming together and believing in each other and supporting each other. And again, the very inspiring chat this morning with Mr. Khalid Al-Tayr, who on a personal note, I had to personally thank, because UNAS has opened a lot of doors for us as a young brand, a young business owner. And it's important to follow through with this. I think the more we create this landscape for each other, I think the more us as consumers support local brands. It's a cycle, and we all need to be active there. And I also think one thing that's super important to keep in mind, and this is something that I constantly have to, remind myself of, is not to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves with platforms like Instagram, TikTok, socials in general. It's very easy to look at other people, to look at their journey and compare your journey to their journey. And sometimes, most of the times I would say, comparing can play a negative effect on you rather than positive. Getting inspired by someone's journey is always good, but when you're comparing, it will always make you feel like you are not doing enough or that you're not where you should be. So it's super important, and again, I repeat this to myself all the time. It's super important to compare your growth to your own journey, compare yourself to your older self and not to someone else, because every journey is different.
Thank you for that. So I'm going to take a question coming from the first session with, and there was a response from Mr. Atayed regarding focus. Focus as a brand, focus on products. And I wanted to get into more the data analytics and business aspect as we round up this session. You have the fortune, as you mentioned, NOHA, to be able to get insight and feedback directly from your audience to help you adjust your product offering. How do you look at evolving or growing your business models? Because at the end of the day, you have businesses to run. You're not just here to play games and share lovely photos, even though your photos are very lovely. But how do you look at developing long-term business and revenue models? And I think that a lot of people in this room would appreciate this insight by utilizing data, utilizing analytics, and really building a concrete and sustainable business structure to be able to grow your business and also keep the desire around you as a person and as a content creator.
No, I'm thinking of the data, because data is obviously super important, and it's, like you said, it's kind of the driving force to navigate the journey in which you're going next, because sometimes you have plans and then the data shows that's not where you should be going, shift it. And the tools that we have from I would say Instagram specifically, because this is where we put most of our effort, at least as a social channel, are very, very helpful, very insightful. And this is also something that we didn't have maybe 10 years ago when we were first started. And it's definitely important to keep this data as, and to monitor the data constantly. We are also predominantly an e-commerce platform, and when I speak from my brand. And we saw a shift when we went into retail. So that also for us was something like a brick and mortar. We opened our own stores for our brand, and that was also something that we realized how much Instagram and the social channels were helping with the data that we weren't able to get when it was through retail and brick and mortar physical stores. So yeah, I would say it's definitely important to keep the data and evolve with the data, and yeah, just not to sit and get comfortable. Just keep moving.
I will add to that, actually. Also taking your time, because I know the excitement is there. I know you're eager to serve something, to add something, to start, achieving your dreams. But it's very important as well to take your time. Take your time, study the market, take it step by step, understand the needs and the demands, and try to fulfill that. For me, for example, I'm taking it step by step with NABIL Beauty. We're growing 12 to 15% every year, and I'm so happy with that constant growth.
Bravo.
I'm so happy with that constant growth. And I take my time developing the product, seriously. And it took us like 3 years to find the right formula for the foundation, because I really want to serve, the needs of creating a vegan product, as clean as possible. Once again, because like my 11 years old uses it. So I really want to create something that, that serves the needs, and at the same time, it's a high quality, as vegan and as clean as possible. So take your time and study the market, and success will come, you know, throughout the journey, and enjoy it. Because sometimes when you rush yourself, you lose the, you know, when you take yourself so seriously, you lose the excitement. And it's very important to stay motivational and just enjoy the journey.
Thank you. Now, let's have one last question to close out our time here together. What's one piece of advice, and this is for all three of you ladies, what's one piece of advice that you would give to someone who is either building a brand directly and or who's transitioning and transforming this position of being a content creator to develop their own brand? I know that you shared a lot of insight, but if you just give one aspect to close out the session, really appreciate your perspective. Joanna, start with you.
To motivate you, there's an audience for everyone. You're talking about 4 billion people on platforms, across the platforms, and I'm not even mentioning the other platforms. The intersect between the platforms is not too severe, so between Instagram and Facebook, actually it's 20% intersect in audiences. So imagine how much you can tap into. I once met a creator who had 1 million followers by touring aquariums around the world. That's it, like just fish content. And he had a lot of people interested in that content, so there's an audience for everyone. Don't get the slow growth that you are witnessing today, and I'm aware that demotivates you. It takes time. It's not as fast as it is anymore because people's consumptions and ways have shifted and have changed. Today, take it on yourself. You're in bed at night and you're on the feed and you're scrolling, and it becomes an automated type of movement where you're just scrolling through reels. Whether you like the person, you like the reel or not, you just want to keep moving forward. So that's why gaining followers is not that easy anymore. And that's why as a platform, we're shifting the way we view success is by views instead of anything else. And we're trying to educate the brands as well to make sure that they are also like seeing creators' success based on different metrics and not the same old metrics that they used to measure. So back to my topics, don't lose motivation, stay consistent, that approach works, develop a strategy. Strategy is everything. Our team is called Strategic Global Partnerships. My role is Strategic Partner Manager because we know how important a strategy is. Develop your own strategy, not one rule fits all. What worked for Karen will not work for NOHA. And what works for NOHA will not work for Dima. And the list goes on and on. Each one of them has his own way of doing things. So find that in you by testing, by texting and trying. And then later on, once you build that community, you will know deep within what's the right next step. And it's not always a beauty brand. And it's not always a sunglasses brand. It can be so many things. It can be a book. It can be a service. It can be a newsletter. I was telling you about the newsletter creator. It can be anything. The sky is the limit. So that would be my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. Karen?
Adding on to this very insightful advice, I would also say it's very important not to be afraid to knock on doors. From the start of my journey up until today, one of the things is that I'm quite stubborn, and when I want something, I'm going to make sure that I get it, and I will knock at doors. Even if they're shut in my face, I will try again and again or go through another one. And I think, Joanna, you're a witness to that. I have come to her so many times telling her, I want to do this. And even if I've gotten rejected many times from the plans that I had or the thoughts that I had or the dreams that I had, I persevered and I will continue to do that. And like I said, I think we're all part of this community, and everyone is responsible to to help each other, especially in a time like now. So don't be afraid to knock at a door, and hopefully it will open for you.
I will conclude it. Never stop learning, ever. The moment you reach a level you think, khalas, this is it, there's nothing coming, this is the end. Never stop learning. And trust me, after 10 years, being in social media and this madness, it's all about quality, not quantity. Numbers come and go, and sites are pleasing some days and disappointing the other day. It's very important to focus on the quality. The moment you focus on a good quality and creating a good quality content, creating a good quality product, you will nail it, and you will target, you know, the audience that appreciates your hard work and the effort you put in there. So it's all about quality. Focus on high quality. Focus on progressing, improving yourself, and never stop learning.
Thank you to you three ladies.
Thank you to you, Maureen.
Of course.
Thank you, Maureen.
For your time, for listening. Our goal was to give you practical, tangible insights and learnings. So from Joanna to Karen to Noha, we hope that you left with a lot of concrete learnings that you can apply to your own projects and businesses. And thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask, which is easier, having a community and then building the brand, or having the brand and then building the community?
Anna, from my point of view, I think you're lucky if you have the community and build a brand.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they believe in you, they will support you. But it's also interesting and challenging to start the other way, you know?
Yeah.
Because I've done it also with different brands. I have my perfume line, which is called Rajafai, and I wanted to start the other way and explore the other way. So I built the brand, and I've never mentioned that it's mine. And it took me actually a longer time. It took me like 3 years to build the community for the brand.
Exactly.
And then it came up in the picture. So I think each one is like different, but challenging and interesting somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
I think also one of the challenges that come from building a community first, I mean, it's obvious what the advantages are, but one of the challenges is that once you already have a name that's established, there's very little room for mistakes. Whereas if you were starting, you know, from kind of scratch, you can explore a little bit more, and your mistakes won't weigh as heavily as when you already have an established name and community, and you need to make sure not to disappoint this community.
Yeah, exactly.
Reverse it. Let's say you're a brand and you're launching your product. What's the first marketing strategy today that will pop in your mind? Creators. Let's work with creators, identify, send them, try with sending packages, hoping they
Exactly.
respond.
Yeah.
So imagine if you're a creator or like you already have that community. You don't need to leverage others. Most likely you can be okay starting up with your own existing community.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I see a question up here in the front as well, if you could pass the mic.
I think we can hear you, by the way, if you go. Okay, but the rest cannot hear you. Wait.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you, ladies, for sharing your experiences with us. I think my question to Joanna. I have a company of consultations. I'm not picturing myself. I'm not taking photos for me on Instagram. But actually, I have like 7 years fighting to be famous or someone have a place in this Instagram platform. So how can we be present in Instagram and a platform without presence of myself on a photo or something?
Yeah, you don't need to. Just because I've been referring to content creators all the time is because I work with them. But you don't need to. You just need to develop a proper brand, a strategy for your brand's presence on Instagram. I mean, today, let's talk, if we're going to talk, you're saying your consultancy, but let's say the Frankie shop. Have you seen the Instagram account of the Frankie shop? It's multiple people. It's based on a lot of user-generated content, but it's as a brand, I think it's one of the most successful accounts we have on the platform. So you need to just find out a format that works. And if you cannot figure it out by yourself, and it's normal, there's a lot of accounts for you to get inspired from. There's no wrong in just finding inspiration elsewhere and trying to mimic it until you find your own rightful tone of voice. If you're attending today's workshop, and you should, I'm going to be talking a lot about this. And if I don't deliver enough, I'm happy to chat on the side as well.
Thank you very much.
Next question.
Hello, this is more for the creators and also for Joanna. So we talked a bit about storytelling with Khalid Altair and Gen Z and how content and the way we're creating content is changing. So I want to ask you guys, how do you deal with this kind of, you know, quality over quantity? And do you guys think about the content fatigue? How do you guys challenge brands when you guys are in a position where you can challenge brands to create more of a resonance online rather than just the typical product placement? And I know like sometimes you have to play that middle game between quality and quantity because sometimes it's a question of just putting out content. So yeah, is there a middle ground? How do you guys approach that with your own content to stay kind of not only relevant but innovative in the way you create content online?
The way I would see it is it's a cycle. It's always changing. And I can tell you from my personal perspective, my goals have also shifted in my journey. So at some point I am more focused on, if you want like awareness or growth, or you know, I'm more focused on the quantity. And then when I'm there, I'm like, okay, now is a good time since I gathered this audience, or let me put out the right information that I want to put out, and then it's more focused on the quality. So I think it kind of shifts based on the goals that you have, whether it's for your brand or your personal self. And even if you were to look at my journey from when I started up until today, there's definitely the authenticity that's always there, and I'm always true to myself, but the way that I share those messages will shift. Sometimes I'm more focused on doing reels because this is what people are consuming right now. Sometimes I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna shift to doing more kind of podcasty, you know, ways of getting the message across. So it would really change based on what people are consuming, and you do get the fatigue. I mean, I'm sure you have had that too. It is, and sometimes you just kind of don't want to put yourself out there in a certain way, but it's part of the journey, part of the commitment that you put out, and you just, again, you need to show up. It's just doing it in the way that's most comfortable for you at the time.
Thank you.
I have one, maybe two last questions, so just back here.
Thank you, ladies, for the insightful discussion. I just wanted to know more about the overlooked link between brands and women causes. Like October is the Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So what do brands really need to do in order to support this? I was expecting to see a little bit more this October as a breast cancer survivor, 5 years now, but actually I haven't seen what I had in mind. Not only in the awareness initiatives, but survivors empowering initiatives as well. So I'd like to hear more from you on this.
I can jump in with one thing too. You're right. I think it's never enough in terms of causes and awareness, and I think there's room for so much more. And I'm going to speak on behalf of the company that I'm representing. When it comes to us as Meta, we do a lot internally. When it comes to causes and support, then we do internally based on the cause and the support. So during the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the company, we all come together, we talk, we get educated as well. We try to speak with the partners that we have that are impacted. However, it's never enough. We all need a platform, creators, brands. We all need to always like show up for different causes that are impacting our people, our region, the world as well. But I think it takes two to tango. I think also when it comes from people like yourself, if you can advocate more, if you can have a voice, connect more, educate us. At the end of the day, you can imagine the day-to-day of the life of Karen or Noha or Maureen, like education and this type of connection is so important. So also take it on you as a responsibility to be vocal and to educate the brands, the platforms, the people, the creators, for them to show up for you.
Noha, maybe you wanted to add
I want to salute you. I want to salute you. And yes, I will add to it. It's never enough, and we try as much as possible to, to give back to community in different perspectives. And this is what I try as a brand, as an influencer, to be a part of, anything that serves back to community. And it's never enough.
Thank you. Should we have one last question before we wrap up? No, okay. Thank you all very much. Thank you for your time and your
Thank you, guys.
questions. And enjoy the rest of your day.